I'm Natalia Kern and welcome to my kitchen. Today I have great news for you. If you ever wanted to lose weight, you probably heard of getting less carbohydrates in your diet or perhaps even cutting them out of your diet at all. Well, I have great news for you. You don't have to do it at all. As a matter of fact, in order to lose weight and have energy to train, you have to have them. The key is you have to know when and what kind of carbohydrates to eat. And I have all these things for you to explain good carbohydrates from bad carbohydrates. We have different types of carbs. We have simple carbs, we have complex carbs, and we have fibrous carbs. Sound complicated? I'll break it down for you. Okay, so let's start with simple carbs. Simple carbs are not bad. Now, processed carbs are, and most processed carbs are simple. That means that is a simple sugar that gets absorbed by your body super fast. It gets fast into your bloodstream and spikes up your blood sugar, spiking up your insulin, creating that unstable insulin level in your body, making you shaky perhaps, and then hungry after that, and it creates all sorts of issues. So to prevent that from happening, you have to stick to good simple carbs if you choose simple carbs. So what are the simple carbs? Fruit, berries, and vegetables. Well, most fruit and berries are simple carbs because they're sweet and they're easy to digest and it's so tasty. Now there are bad simple carbs such as chips, corn or potato chips. They're simple. Pretzels. I got them just for the demo. I'm gonna get rid of them as soon as we finish with the shoot. And anything that comes in such pre-packed food, like it can be white bread, like Wonder Bread or any kind of bread for that matter, that's made with flour, pasta, you name it, any pastry, all that stuff is bad for you. Why? Because it contains more than one ingredient, because it contains a lot of preservatives, it has sugar, it has too much salt in it, it has all kind of chemicals that keep those things fresh for you. So if it stays on the shelf for months at a time and still fresh, there's probably a lot of chemicals in order for that to happen. So when you go for something like that, choose wisely and choose nature's product, like fruit. When you have something like this, when you have juicy and ripe peach or orange, why go for some candy that is made only out of sugar and a bunch of preservative and artificial flavors? They're not gonna make you, they're not gonna do you any good. So this is the way to go when you choose simple carbs. Bananas, any fruit, when you go with simple carbs. Now, the best timing to eat simple carbs is morning, when you wake up for your breakfast, following by heavier meals, or after your heavy training, like for instance, weightlifting training or high-intensity interval training, because all blood that you're pumping into your muscle is there. And when you have a simple carb, for instance, watermelon, and goes straight into your muscle. It helps to recover that muscle, and it doesn't add heavy meal to your stomach that will need a lot more blood to digest and a lot more time to digest as well. So that's with timing. Ideal simple carb is berries because they are so nutrient dense. It's crazy. They're loaded with vitamins and nutrients and fibers as well. They're high in protein and they are delicious. You can eat them fresh if they're in season, and if you want to get them for the better price, you buy them in season. You get them at farmers markets, you get them on fruit stands, or you get them frozen. Ideal for smoothies in the morning or after your workout. Perfect meal, such as this. You put this in the blender, combine it with coconut milk, scoop of protein powder, and your post-workout or breakfast meal is ready to go. Easy, right? Now, let's continue with other carbs. And it's vegetables. And before you say yuck, I have to tell you that vegetables are the best carbohydrates you can have in your diet. And I'm talking about raw, fresh, dark, leafy greens. This is spinach. It's also loaded with potassium. It's loaded with protein and vitamins, minerals. They're so good for you. And it's also fibrous, which is so good for your digestive system. And I have other greens like mush. It's great for your salads. I have a little bit of kale. A lot more is gone already. I have to buy more. I have broccoli, which is a queen of vegetables. Kale is the king, broccoli is the queen. And it's really good. It's super fibrous. You can make it in so many delicious meals, which I will show you later. Not in this video. Today we're just talking about categories. But later on, make sure that you check out my other videos. Sweet potatoes, you can have sometimes baking potatoes. They are not bad for you. You just make sure that you have them in moderation. And potato itself is not that bad for you. That's the stuff that you put on top, like butter and sour cream, a bunch of salt, maybe bacon crumbles. That's what makes it bad. Potato itself is not bad if you combine it with broccoli or green beans or asparagus and lean protein. It's going to be just fine. Just make sure you don't load it up with junk. Another fibrous, great vegetable is eggplant. You can make great eggplant spread. You can make delicious ragu. I will show you recipes later. It's just, you know, the variations are limitless. Mushrooms, another great vegetable. Now, complex carbs is another category. And complex carbs are great for you because they have low glycemic index, such as lentils, split peas, and brown rice pasta. You can also enjoy buckwheat pasta or quinoa pasta. Love that. So what makes it different from regular pasta? It's a complex carb instead of simple carb. It doesn't have that much starch, and it takes much more time to digest by your body. Therefore, it takes more time, more calories, more effort by your body. And the energy is released gradually. So it doesn't spike up your blood sugar, doesn't touch your insulin levels. It gives you leveled energy, and that's what you need. So if you combine complex carb with fibrous carb, like for instance, you can make vegetable mix, beautiful ragu for your pasta sauce, or nice and plump heirloom tomatoes combined in a beautiful tomato sauce with your brown rice pasta that is high in protein as well, that you'll be just fine. Now what makes pasta bad is white flour pasta, just regular pasta. That spikes up your blood sugar. That is not good for you. It just adds weight. It's just not gonna, you're not gonna meet your goals by doing that. And you know what? This is delicious. It's as good, especially with the properly prepared sauce. You won't even notice the difference. So why go for something bad for you that when you actually can get a great alternative? Now, a lot of us love bread. I'm guilty of that. I know a lot of people are. Bread, it's comforting, it's tasty, especially pastries, especially white flour pastries, but it's not good for you. It's not good for any bikini plan. It's not good for any fitness goals, just because it's a junk. And it has too much bad stuff, includes too much yeast and too much sugar and salt and fat and all that stuff. And more importantly, processed flour, which is high in gluten. And we'll know that it's not that good for your fitness goals. So I always look for alternatives. And alternatives such as hemp bread or brown rice bread or quinoa bread. Delicious. It's really good. It's just like whole grain bread in taste, but it's absolutely guilt-free. So you can look for a package like this. I found it in Whole Food Store. I'm sure you can find it online. Whenever I cannot find something, I'm Googling it online, and they give me different stores that carry that particular product. Now, another pitfall a lot of people have when it comes to carbs is sugar. Sugar is a legal drug. Unfortunately, it's still legal, but that's the #1 problem that this nation has. Because it's just so addictive and it's so bad for you. It unfortunately plays games with our brain, and it just makes things so much harder for you. Just to bring you a simple example, that 1 can of soda that is loaded with sugar, 1 can, you don't know how it looks, has this much of sugar. This much of sugar. White sugar, processed sugar. And the rest are unnatural ingredients, flavors, and you name it, chemicals, besides 9 tablespoons of sugar. So if you're addicted to soda, this is the #1 thing you have to know, that you just loading yourself up with sugar, and you really doing yourself disservice by consuming that. And I'm sure you're not having just 1 can a day. And by the way, diet soda is not a good alternative. When you want to break the habit, you have to start with sparkling water, just like this. So whenever you're having that thirst, craving for soda, choose wisely and go with sparkling water, flavored water. Just make sure that the best way basically is to do it at home and prep your water. Just buy sparkling water and carry it with you if you're at work, if you go somewhere, get it with you. That way you won't be tempted to buy something in fast food restaurant, which is loaded with sugar, it's guaranteed. So just pre-buy it, and it will be cheaper if you buy it in bulk and carry it with you at all times. That way you're going to be all prepared, so you won't, have any downfalls down the road. But if you're somewhere you absolutely thirsty for something bad, go with sparkling water and lemon instead. Because a lot of times we choose things out of habit, not out of necessity. And a lot of things we're craving, like crunchy, salty, fatty, sugary, is because we're thirsty, not because we are hungry. So water intake is very, very important. So sparkling water is a good way to start to break your soda habit. And plain water is just good to have during the day, and aim up to 1 gallon or 2 a day. That way it will be guaranteed that your body is not dehydrated and craving for junk. And speaking of junk, a lot of us love crackers, and crackers is super tricky because so many of us cannot just stop at 5 crackers. And if you read the serving label, it should be like 5 crackers, 5-6 crackers per serving. And let's be honest, who stops at 5? At 5 you just get the taste and you want to have more and more, especially if you have salsa and guacamole with it. Forget about it, you're just not going to stop at 1. So the key is pre-pack it. And first of all, you make sure you don't buy crackers that are bad for you. And I don't have bad crackers right now, but any wheat crackers, white wheat flour crackers are not good for you. Pretzels are not good for you because they're full of processed junk. They have a lot of salt, which is very addicting. You just cannot stop eating it because it's salty. And it has sugar in it as well. So it's fat, sugar, salt combination, crunchy as well, that makes it pretty much impossible for you to stop eating it. So chips are very tricky because they are fat. They're really fat, they're salty, they're crunchy, addictive, right? So we have to be careful. I love crackers. The name is Marigan crackers, I think, and it's made out of seeds, sesame seeds, and it's natural. It doesn't have anything in it that is bad for you. It doesn't have any flour, it doesn't have any gluten. So it's a seed cracker. They are not just like a regular wheat cracker, so you're not gonna, they're filling you up, so you're not gonna be hungry after 5-6 crackers. But if you're one of those munchers that doesn't stop and at the serving size, pre-pack it. So for instance, 5-6 crackers, put it in the Ziploc, have something to go with it, like if you have cheese, cut it in little pieces, and put it in the Ziploc for your snack. That way you will know, okay, this is my serving size, I shouldn't go above that when it comes to snacks like this. Otherwise, if you snack unhealthy stuff like this, that is absolutely not processed, it's nature's gift to you, have as much as you can. I can guarantee you won't be able to eat too much of it because it's just so nutrient dense. You go for quality, not for quantity. and this is what you need to go for. But if you absolutely cannot stop eating sugar, I have great alternatives for you to choose from. And I personally use it especially for baking, organic coconut, which is absolutely natural. It's dried sugar. And I have organic stevia, plant, 100% natural. I buy all my stuff organic, just making sure it doesn't have any pesticides, no preservatives, nothing in it but that ingredient. Lucuma powder. It's not too sweet, but it's great, especially if you make homemade ice creams out of fruit and berries, and I'll show you the recipes later. So this is perfect ingredient to use it for. Another thing that is good for your coffee, for your tea, if you absolutely cannot stand it without sugar yet, which I will advise you to actually start gradually reducing the sugar content, but don't have the regular white sugar. Have something like this. It's natural, so your body will absorb it naturally without creating chaos inside of you. So this is date sugar. It's sweet, it's nice, it's very mild flavor, so it's just an option, a healthy option. Another one I have is raw honey. When you choose your honey, go local, raw, unheated, and unfiltered, because that means you have just honey in it. It doesn't heat up and doesn't create that sugar content in it. So it's high in sugar, but it's natural. So when you're learning to stay away from soda, this is a good alternative. Have hot tea with a little bit of sugar in it, or I'm sorry, honey in it. So this is a good alternative. Or maybe when you have your pancakes, healthy pancakes, I'll show you the recipes of with a little bit of honey. Perfect alternative. So this is it for today about carbs. I can go on and on about this subject, and I want to know your questions. What are your questions? What are your struggles when it comes to carbs, snacks, and all this addictive, crunchy stuff? I'm here to help you, and I would like to hear your questions, so post it below this video. I'll be happy to hear from you.